Hugh, Phoenix Light lining up for Dennership over 1,200 metres. He's well rated. He looked to get home pretty nicely, I thought, last time at Sharton. Your verdict on the run?
I was very pleased with him. He did finish off well, and there's no reason why we can't expect an improved performance from that. I think he's going along really well, and I think, you know, barrier 8's probably not too much of a negative. He'll just find his position in the middle of the pack somewhere and ride him to hit the line, but I was pleased with him the other day.
You rode him, I think, 15th or 16th in some track work. He's also worked alongside Telecom Dragon. How's he been going in the mornings?
Been going well, they both have, and they both line up on the weekend. So, look, they're both racing in consistent form, both happy and healthy within themselves, moving well, and both live chances this Sunday.
What about Hugh Wellington in the sprint? You're right here for Jamie Richards, your first time partnering this horse. How did you assess his trial the other day? He looked to move well on the all-weather, I thought.
Yeah, he did. He went very well. He found the corner a little bit sharp, so I'm pleased I've had the opportunity to sit on his back in the lead up to this weekend's Group 1 race. But look, the horse is in good form. You know, he needs no introduction. He's already a multiple Group 1 winner. And I think it's going to be a very... I've got a suspicion it's going to be more of a testing race than maybe some of the sprints in recent times because of the fact that it's a full field. And, you know, I think it'll be a high pressure event, and I think that'll suit my horse.
Lucky SWEYNESSE has obviously drawn Barry at number 5, and he's your main opponent here, and you're coming into this here third up. Do you think he's still got it, as he is older than Lucky SWEYNESSE, to turn the tables on him?
Well, I think luck in running is going to play a part, and I think Lucky SWEYNESSE has that tactical speed, and I think the high pressure race, assuming that that's what it's going to be, will suit Lucky SWEYNESSE too. So we're under no illusion of where we sit in the pecking order, and we can't expect to see Wellington come out and give a career best performance either. But I think he's going well enough to run as well, if not better, than he did in the international meeting, the international sprint. So if he can do that, then he'll certainly make his presence felt.
Karis, the Khan who comes out of Casper Found stable, came through the ISG stable. You were on in his most recent trial down the straight. What was your verdict and opinion on his performance that morning?
Yeah, he's a lovely little horse. He has been improving with each and every trials, and I thought his last trial was decent, and it seems like he's ready to go to races.
Was the best part of that trial sort of the last 100 metres where he looked to go through the line well?
Yeah, you would think so. It looked like that, and it felt like that. Like he sort of got stronger towards the end, and you know, I think Casper have the horse in a good shape.
Barrier manners have been a little bit of an issue. He sort of missed it, and I think one morning I was calling, he played up in the gates as well. Any sort of concerns around those going into his first up assignment?
I must say there's been a big improvement in his gate manners. Casper's done a lot of work at home. I jumped him out a few days ago, and he was pretty good in there. So, you know, I think that should you know, he doesn't go back to that again, and his behaviour will be good on race day.
Just as a jockey, when you've got horses that are on there making their debuts and they do play up in the gates, they have got a little bit of a history for that. What do you need to be mindful of? Is there any sort of characteristics they might show that something could sort of set them off? Yeah,
well, you know, with racing, there's so many horses inside those gates, and you know, one horse just kick or make a noise, and your young horse can really get upset. So I'll just have to try keep him as quiet as I can and sort of keep his mind focused. You know, so yeah, like I said, I'm just more focused about the horse instead of worry about him in the gate. I think he's pretty good now. So.
Quick comment on Taj Dragon, who's lining up in the Group 1 sprint for Pierre Ung. He's coming into this with a recent trial. You were aboard. Were you satisfied with what he showed you at the trials on the all-weather last week?
Yeah, of course. It's nice to get on a young horse like that. I think, you know, he's come on a long way. So yeah, his recent trial was good. Horse is in good shape. I galloped him this morning, and I was pretty happy with his work.
He got a big whack in the handicaps in terms of rating points because he was out of the handicap for his Group 3 victory. What about the assignment at level weights and coming back a furlong as well? What are your thoughts on those sort of factors?
Yeah, there's a few things that go against him, but I think, you know, of course, you know, you've got a horse like that now with that rating. What do you do with him? You know, so you know, it's gonna be hard, you know, taking on one of the world's best sprinters and all the other horses that's like Wellington. Lucky with you ran a great race, so it's gonna be an interesting race. You know, I think if the horse get a good run and finish well behind those horses, or earn some money or closer, I think the connection will be happy.
Zach, lucky SWEYNESSE, the world's best sprinter, got his just desserts last time out in the international mile. Where did that performance rate amongst his top-level victories here so far, do you think?
It's not easy to win any international race in Hong Kong, so you've got to put it towards the top of his list. It wasn't one of his most devastating performances. I think the champion sprint towards the end of last season was probably his best performance, but it was not far off that, and the horse looks like he's going well.
He got beaten, of course, in his first 2 runs this season, and there were obviously mitigating circumstances to both of those. But when he was able to win the Jockey Club sprint by a neck, is there something like a moment or something you can sort of pinpoint that he'd sort of turned the corner and come on, because you were quite confident leading into the international sprint this year?
He's just taken a few runs to come to hand, that's all. He was carrying big weights, he struck the wet track. He had a fair few things going against him, and he just needed a little bit of racing to get back to where he needed to be, and he showed that in December, and I think he's going just as well.
When you look back at sort of the end of last campaign and beginning of this campaign, for want of a better word, he probably raced in a few unconventional races. Does it just sort of show what a brilliant animal that he is, that he can come back from some of those sort of races carrying weight as well?
Yeah, he's obviously a very talented horse. We know that. And they're not machines. They can't be at their absolute best or peak all the time. The preparations are designed to get them to peak at certain stages of their season, and he needed to peak in December, and that's what he did.
You were away for his last trial. Matthew Purton was on board, but off the video, and you've galloped him since yesterday. How's he feeling coming into the weekend?
I think he's feeling pretty good. I think he's taken another little step again. So I'm looking forward to the race. It's a tricky gate, so although people look at 5 and think it looks like it's a good gate, it looks a little bit tricky to me with the runners drawn inside me. So we just need a little bit of luck early to hopefully get him out and get a nice spot. There's a few runners in the race as well, so a few horses shouldn't be there. Could get in the way of a few other runners, so it's just a matter of navigating the right path on him and giving him his chance.
David Starmack lining up this weekend in race number 9. How's he come through his last start performance, and what did you make of his nice 7th placing, where he looked to be running on a bit at the end?
Yeah, he was. His run before was more eye-catching, where he came from the back after missing the start. This one he got in traffic, but he was still good, doing his best late. I think he's a very lightly raced horse in Australia, one start, so he's still learning, making a few mistakes, but when he gets his act together, he'll have no trouble winning races here in Hong Kong.
He's trying this weekend in race number 9, and he raced over the mile in his last 2 starts. Is that his sort of preferred trip, or do you think he'll get a bit further in time, you believe?
I think he's, for sure, 2,000 metres he'll even be better, but we'll put the side winkers on just to smarten him up and hopefully help his racecraft a bit.
He obviously has an entry for the classic mile, and there's been a few defections from that by the sounds of things already. What was the thought process on running this week? Did you just think he needed that extra run going into the mile?
I thought of 63, he needed a few more points, but as it's turned out, he won't. But it'll be good education for him, and if he pulls up well, we'll back him up. There's been a lot of horses back up and run well in the past.
Green and white going around in the last for Ricky Hugh. He's had a number of ordinary draws, but he has been able to win 2 races. What was your verdict on his last run? Because he was 57 days between runs too.
I think that sums it up, right? He was at an all-time high in the ratings. He had a setback in training and had a time between runs. He drew wide, rolled forward. He just blew up. His condition just gave out. So it was a good run. He was a horse that was missing the start badly in all these early races, and last start it's the best he's begun, so he's starting to work it out, and if he can put himself in the right spot, he's going to be a chance.
He's won those 2 races covering ground, both of those sort of about midfield. You mentioned he's not the quickest away, but we haven't seen the best of him yet, I don't think, have we?
He hasn't been helping himself. When you're missing the start and you can't get into stride and you're getting shuffled out the back all the time, and then he was a bit green in amongst runners and didn't have an immediate turn of foot. It's hard when you're back in the field and the gap's there and you want to take it, but these wheels are spinning. By the time you get there, it closes. So it's not easy when they don't really know what they're doing. But he's starting to put it together, and I think there's more there.